How much capital do you really need to start online arbitrage? Okay, this video, guys, I'm gonna be breaking down the 3 different budget types most people have when looking to start an Amazon business or an online arbitrage business, and kind of what the best way to start Amazon would be, depending on the level of capital you have. So I have 1,000, 3,000, and 7,000 plus. So if you have more than 7,000, what is the best way to start with this capital level? For those of you guys that don't know who I am, my name is Eric Cooper. I've sold well over 7 figures on Amazon and consistently sell 100,000 a month. And we'll be showing the best way to get started depending on the capital you have. Okay, so let's start off with $1,000. Okay, so if you have $1,000, working maybe just a basic job, or you've been saving and you have $1,000 and you want to get started with this business. So the first thing you need to do is set up, let me adjust this. The first thing you need to do is set up an Amazon seller account, okay? Every single capital level you guys are at, no matter what, this is your first step, setting up an Amazon seller account. And if you've been looking at a bunch of Amazon videos and a bunch of people talking about how to get started in Amazon and you have not made your seller account yet, just go ahead and make it, okay? Hold yourself accountable, make the first step, take it, even though it may seem uncomfortable. And really, there's a couple different ways to approach this if you have $1,000, okay? You could actually start off with reselling used books, okay? This is how some people get started. I personally don't recommend this, okay? If you have, a decent paying job, or you just have a job where you can save a little bit of money every single month and you also have $1,000 saved up, it doesn't really make sense to start with books. You might as well start with just selling normal products. That way you understand the feel of that, business model and how you can scale that up. That's just my take on things. That's what I would recommend. So with that, we will just start with reselling normal online arbitrage products, right? Reselling other products that are already established. And so the best way to start this is by using Profit Buddy to basically source all your products, okay? So that is kind of the best way to at least find your products when you first start with $1,000. Okay, very, very simple. You're gonna start off with sending these products to your house, prepping them up, so we can add that in. So you're gonna send the products to your house and then sell them onto Amazon, okay? That is a very, very simple, easy, step-by-step, okay? It doesn't get more complicated than that. And that is how we get started if we have $1,000 of capital, okay? Now let's talk about if we have 3,000, okay? If you have 3,000, there's one key difference we're gonna add in here, which is use a prep center, okay? For those of you guys that don't know what a prep center is, a prep center will basically prep all of the products that you want to purchase and send them to Amazon for you. So this is super helpful if you don't have a lot of time or you don't want to learn how to prep products. You don't have to worry about using a printer or anything like that. And so this is much better. And also the benefit with using a prep center is we can use a prep center in a tax-free state. Okay, so if you guys look for a prep center in a sales tax-free state, Delaware, Montana, New Hampshire, Oregon, these are all prep centers, states with no sales tax, okay? And so you can actually even save a little bit of money because you're not paying that sales tax anymore. Whereas if you live in a state with high sales tax or just sales tax in general, you will have to pay that fee, okay? Those are kind of the biggest differences. Just using a prep center to give yourself a little bit more time, and that way you can focus more on just growing the business and getting things started. Now, at this level, you may want to consider other softwares other than just ProfitBuddy.ai. You may want to use Sellerboard, which is going to help you track your profits, just so you have a better idea. But the fun stuff is if you have 7,000 plus in capital, okay? Because if you have 7,000 plus in capital, you can really fast track a lot of your business. So let's talk about that. So the best way to grow your business when you have 7,000 plus in capital, number one, you could actually invest into getting a virtual assistant, okay? So a virtual assistant is someone that can help source you profitable inventory every single day. That way you at least have some product leads coming in. Now, here's the key with getting a VA, because there's a couple ways to look at this. There's a lot of people that will recommend not getting a VA if you're brand new to Amazon, which I don't necessarily disagree with, but there are some select people that should be getting a VA from the beginning of starting their Amazon business because they have a lot of capital, they don't have a ton of time, and maybe they're not the most tech savvy. Because if you're in any of those buckets, it makes way more sense to get a virtual assistant that, number one, knows how to already source profitable products better than you, and number two, is going to buy back your time. If you don't have 8 hours a day to source products, having a virtual assistant that sources 8 hours a day for you will help you grow. Like, there is no ifs, ands, or buts, okay? And one thing that this problem will actually solve, or one thing that getting a VA will solve, is you will find more ungated products, okay? So a lot of people, when they first get started with Amazon, is they tend to struggle a lot with having all the products that they source gated. The biggest reason why you struggle with gated products when you're a new seller is because you just don't find that many profitable products. And so of the few that you do find, you just tend to see that most of them are gated and things just end up not working out that way. But if you can get a virtual assistant who finds you 25, 30 leads every single week, that in turn is going to leave you with more products you're auto-approved to sell. You're still going to be gated in some. You still will be having issues with it, but you'll have some products that you are ungated in, and you can just use those products to basically start selling and start building up the business, okay? That is really the best way to get into it. So my advice for some of you guys, especially if you do have the 7,000 capital, I would really encourage you to invest into a VA. It will help you grow exponentially. Now, the hiring process for getting a VA is also extremely crucial, okay? So for those of you guys that do have a little bit more capital, I'm actually going to link a video in the description that shows you the exact hiring strategy that I use in my business to hire VAs. And I promise you, if you are even on the fence about getting a VA or want to learn more about getting VAs, watch that video, because it's going to break down the whole strategy that I use. And the last thing you want to do is get a VA that sucks, because that's going to cost you a lot more in the end. It will, because you could buy bad product. There's a whole can of worms you can open up. But for all of you guys, no matter what, the biggest advice I want to give is start with step number one, okay? Set up your Amazon seller account, guys. If you've been thinking about starting your Amazon business and thinking about getting into this, the best thing you can do is simply take action, okay? When I started this business 3 years ago, I was working at Pizzahut and I had no idea how to start an Amazon business. I had no clue. I saw a YouTube video and I made my account that same night and I did it. And I'm so glad I took that step, because there's other businesses that I looked at, thought about doing, thought about this, thought about that, but I never took action. But with this, I took action right away, and it kind of held me accountable to actually following through this time. I was like, okay, I guess I actually have to make it happen. So that is my advice for you guys. Make things happen. Also, one other thing to note, for those of you guys that do want to learn a little bit more about Amazon, learn how to find your first product to sell, and just learn how to grow the business the best way possible, I'm actually hosting a live training this Sunday where I walk through the whole process. So if you want to register for that, the link will be in the description. Make sure to get registered. It is going to be completely free, and you can learn a ton of different information about how to get your whole business started that I can't really just cover in one short YouTube video. So I'll see you guys there, and see you guys in the next one. Peace out.